Page 250. There's a call from ringing on the restless waves in the light, in the light. There are souls to rescue, there are souls to save in the light, in the light, in the light. The blessed gospel light, let it shine from shore to shore. In the light, blessed gospel light, let it shine forevermore. The Macedonian call today, sing the light, sing the light. Bring the golden offering at the cross we lay, sing the light, sing the light, sing the light. Blessed gospel light, let it shine from shore to shore. Sing the light, blessed gospel light, let it shine forevermore. There is everywhere around, sing the light, sing the light. Christ, my spirit everywhere be found, sing the light, sing the light, sing the light. Blessed gospel light, let it shine from shore to shore. Sing the light, blessed gospel light, let it shine forevermore. In the work of love, sing the light, sing the light. Gather jewels for a crown of love, sing the light, sing the light, sing the light. Blessed gospel light, let it shine from shore to shore. Sing the light, blessed gospel light, let it shine forevermore.
Old piano sounds pretty good when you play this.
It's good to be in the house of God tonight. Thank you for an opportunity to be able to come out and worship. And feel like when you go to the Lord in prayer tonight, when I ask anybody to have a prayer request you'd like to make known before the church today. We mentioned prayer for Sister Beulah. Went up and saw her today. She's not doing very well. Yesterday they had said something that they had maybe given her 24 to 48 hours to live, but it seems like they're kind of keeping her on the ventilator and trying to see if she can come out of that a little bit. But either way, they said that she has no immunity left and her white blood cell count is pretty much zero. So even if she does come through, then she'll have to go to a nursing facility and be on bed rest. And then they said pretty much if any sort of illness comes in, it probably would take her life. So be much in prayer for them. Mostly be much in prayer for the family. Sister Beulah left a good testimony, and she's always been a blessing to us, but I know a lot of our families out of church, and they know where they need to be. I was able to talk to her daughter a little bit tonight before we came down this way. She used to, I think, be a member of Gloryland at one point in time, so be much in prayer for them. Anything else?
Remember Tony on his surgery.
Sarah reported where they did an echo on his heart today, and he's got that heart murmur. So get the results back tomorrow, whether they're going to do anything with him or not, I don't know.
Brother Josh, I'd like the church to help me, pray for a good lady I know, a good Christian lady. She's fell again and broke her hip, and she's in the hospital, and she's failed so many times, and went to hospital and rehab, that she's used up, I think, a certain amount of days through Medicare, and now she's kind of stuck where she's at until they figure out a place to put her to rehab. She's in her 80s, and I just pray that people will watch over her a little bit better. And I remember when I was in there, they hooked me up to a alarm. If I tried to get up or anything, I went off. And but anyway, she needs our prayers. And also pray. I heard this morning in Oklahoma, every county has a flood warning out there. That's a pretty good sized state. And let's pray for those people out there.
Someone else? Alright. All that have an unspoken request, let me know. Go ahead, lift your hand. For the mic, if you would, please. Someone in there.
Which wants to give me time for you guys?
Father God, we thank you for opportunity to be in your house. Heavenly Father, Lord, we need that and we go to do the things you did so we can we ask our Lord to help us in our prayers. So we need one to God. Some people prayer and our answer to that prayer. Prayer families every time we need God before you just touch them on that one. The problems, Lord, on this one that the stories come their way. Help us watch over Lord, and stay forward. Lord, help out your counsel baby. Help Lord, and Lord, so we stay through that situation. God, Lord, ask for this help us. God, Lord, we know you can take care of that. Lord, ask for that help us touch on God. Just be in a great position, Lord. We ask for this help tonight. Help the message as we go out. Lord, we ask for this help with everyone who is here. Lord, just be obedient to your spirit. God, Lord, we ask for you please engage on the God, Lord, I pray. Thank you, Lord, I want to show you praise, the honor, and the Jesus. We ask it all in Jesus' name. And what's going on?
Anybody have anything on your heart you need to say or do for the Lord tonight? It's really burdened.
I'd like to try to sing a song, Brother Josh. I've been humming it for a couple of days, and each day I'll do a golden deed by helping those who are in need. My life on earth is but a span, and so I'll do the best I can. Life's evening sun is sinking low, a few more days and I must go to meet the deeds that I have done, where there will be no setting sun. To be a child of God each day, my light must shine along the way. I'll sing his praise while the ages roll, and try to help some troubled soul. Life's evening sun is sinking low, a few more days and I must go to meet the deeds that I have done, where there will be no setting sun. While going down life's weary road, I'll try to let
God's evening sun is sinking low. A few more days and I must go to meet the deed that I have done, where there will be no setting sun. I like that song because I want to keep a song like that and a prayer in my heart always, and just hope, praise the Lord always, and Him help me try to do some of these deeds that I'm going to answer the Lord one day.
Someone else tonight. Thank God for that.
Just want to thank you, Lord, for every time you heard me pray. I just want to thank you for always being there. When I was so down and out, you came along and made me wanna shout. I just want to thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. If I had 1,000 lives to live, I'd give them all to my Lord. He's been so good to me. That is the least I could afford. He's made the good times outnumber the bad. He's been the best friend that I've ever had. I just want to thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. I just want to thank you, Lord, for every time you've heard me pray. I just want to thank you for always being there. When I was so down and out, you came along and made me wanna shout. I just want to thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
Amen.
Anybody else tonight? Turn with us, if you would, to the book of Luke, the 11th chapter. We're going to read starting in the 53rd verse. We'll read the first few verses of the 12th chapter of the book of Luke. Didn't know if Shai would be able to make it on time or not, so I borrowed Mike's Bible. He said if you can get through the notes. Got all these post-its in there.
This one's got no postage, you know.
It's okay, you didn't have any here, so I don't know what you've been doing, but you missed it, Jeff. 11:53. And as he said these things unto them, the scribes and the Pharisees began to urge him vehemently and to provoke him to speak of many things, laying wait for him and seeking to catch something out of his mouth that they might accuse him. In the meantime, when there were gathered together an innumerable multitude of people, insomuch that they trode one upon another, he began to say unto his disciples, First of all, Beware ye of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Therefore, whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light, and that which ye have spoken in the ear in the closets shall be proclaimed upon the housetops. And I say unto you, my friends, be not afraid of them that kill the body, and after that have no more that they can do. But I will forewarn you whom ye shall fear. Fear him which after he hath killed hath power to cast into hell. Yea, I say unto you, fear him. And that's all we're going to read. But I do want to draw your attention back up. We're going to read that 53rd, 54th, and the first verse just again, just one small part of that. And as he said these things unto them, the scribes and the Pharisees began to urge him vehemently, and to provoke him to speak of many things, laying wait for him, and seeking to catch something out of his mouth, that they might accuse him in the meantime. And that's the thought tonight, is in the meantime. And this is the only time that these 4 words are mentioned in Scripture. And I started to look at that, and God just, as soon as I read that first verse, it seemed like this week's study, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And I started to think about a lot of the things that we go through in life, and a lot of the trials and tribulations that we face. And you look here, and Christ is beginning to talk to the disciples, and he talks to the Pharisees, and he tells the Pharisees, he calls them hypocrites, and he sees the lawyers, and he begins to tell the lawyers, and he told them, he says, you generation of vipers, and all these things, and he's fighting against some of the most people that are out to just get him and take his life. And we read in 53, and it says that they begin to urge him vehemently. That's not something that's nice. It's something that's harsh and something that fights against you and starts to really bother you. And a look, and it says that they're just trying to catch something, whether something would come out of his mouth. And I thought a lot of times, Steve, about Satan, how he's just like that. He's just like how the world is. And he wants to catch us in something, and he wants to find us in our weakest spot, and he wants to take us when we get to the spot where it seems like we don't have any hope. But I love those first 4 words, in the meantime. And I think about all the troubles and the storms and the trials that we face, and that we get so caught up in our problems, and we get so in turmoil about the things that are going on in our own life. But yet, in the meantime, Christ is there, and Christ is taking care of it before we even ask. Well, how do you know that? Because he told his disciples, he said, take no thought of what you ask, whether it be your food or whether it be your raiment. Your Father in heaven, he knows that you have need of these things. And he said, before you even ask, he would give you these things. But I'm glad tonight that I have a Father in heaven who wants me to ask. And because he said, cast all your care upon him, for he careth for you. And when the waves of life get so high that you feel that you can't mount them, in the meantime, Christ has already got the answer. Christ has already solved the problem. He's got the solution. In the meantime, he's been working it out and leading you through every valley and through every trial. He's been there the whole time. And look at what he does. All these things go on, and they start to get all these problems. The disciples are seeing this go on. They're seeing Christ just get bruised and battered and beaten in his mind as they're beginning to talk to him and saying, Lord, you don't know these things. If you go and read the 11th chapter of the book of Luke, every little thing that Christ did, they tried to say something about it. Don't you feel that way sometimes? When you're trying to serve God and trying to do what God tells you to do, Satan's right there beside you the whole entire time, and he's trying to withstand you. But I've got good news. In the meantime, Christ has been there, and he's on the other side, and he's providing his Spirit to give you strength through it all. I can see Zechariah, and Zechariah's over there. And it said that he sees Joshua, the high priest, and he said, that Satan was there to buffet him. And it said that he finally got to the spot where the angel of the Lord had to come down and clean Joshua up and put on a new garment and give him the garments of the high priest. That's how I am sometimes. I get caught up in the dirt and the filth of all the things that are going on in my life. And God finally has to look. And in the meantime of it all, he has to come by and say, hey, angel, go and clean Josh up. Give him that garment. Remind him that he's got a robe of righteousness on the inside that's been there the whole time. And I can do the work of the Lord again. And he looks at the disciples and he begins to teach the disciples through all of those trials, through everybody saying everything that they can against them and what they were doing for the Lord. And then Christ looks and tells them, over here he says, beware ye of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Therefore, whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light, and that which ye have spoken in the ear and closets shall be proclaimed upon the housetops. He's telling them, look, the religious world, they're out to get you. They're out to hurt you. Not everybody that says, Lord, Lord, is of God. There's people that'll deceive you and that'll lie to you. But God is the truth. Christ is the way. He is the truth. He is the life. We should go with God. He tells the disciples, beware ye not of the leaven of the Pharisees. What's he saying? You know what? I was glad. Mike, you said something not too long ago. I didn't really study it out that much. And then today, God just started, I was driving up to Anderson, and I had the little audio part of the Bible on my little app, and started listening to it. And he began to tell him about my leaven. And I thought, boy, there's a difference between the leaven of the Pharisees and the leaven of God. I know when the Passover came that it was an unleavened bread. There's a leaven that's of sin, but there's also a leaven that's of the Holy Ghost. And when that gets mingled with your bread, what is the bread? It's Christ. It's the word of life. When that comes by, that spirit will cause it to raise up, and it'll be filling to your soul. Amen. Beware of the leaven of the Pharisees. And I say unto you, my friends, be not afraid of them that kill the body, and after that have no more that they can do. Isn't that good? All the problems that you're facing, all the people that are causing you issues, all the ones that have looked at every little sin and at every little problem and every little thing that you've caused and say you can't serve God, you can't do this for the Lord, you're not worthy enough, you're not doing it right. In the meantime, Christ looks at you and says, fear not them that can kill the body, but fear him who can not only kill, but cast into hell. Aren't you glad today that you already escaped hell, that you already came out of that horrible pit, that you were brought out of the miry clay, and he set your feet on a solid rock? We fight these things. We get caught up in these things. Life, that's the way it is. It's full of storms. It's full of valleys. He's the one that can speak peace to the storm. You ever got like the disciples? I know I quote the scripture a lot, but I love it. The disciples are rowing and rowing and rowing in the midst of a storm. And it doesn't seem like they're getting anywhere. I've been there. God, why is this not going my way? God, why are you not answering? Why are you not hearing me through the storm? Where are you at, God? Another time he was asleep at the bottom of the ship and they said, does he care not that we perish? Yes, he cares. Why? Because when they're rowing and rowing and rowing, well, thank the Lord. Here's the one that comes walking on the waves of the storm, and he steps onto the bow of the ship, and go down and they call him instantly. That's who God is. In the meantime, while you've been getting tossed, he's been walking on the waves. Well, go through a valley. He's the lily of the valley. Psalm 23. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Your shepherd is leading you every little bit of the way. We're just dumb sheep. That's all we are. We don't know how to go. We talked about this a lot. What sheep? They're stupid animals. Hey, I'm a stupid animal. If I'm not careful, I'll find myself in the next ditch. If I'm not careful, when that pit of the snake is right there, I'll just be eating and grazing and going along, and the snake will come up and bite me and take me. But the shepherd, he anoints you with oil, so you can be protected from the ways of Satan. While you've been so caught up in just doing what you're going to do and going your own way, his ways are higher than your ways. His thoughts are higher than your thoughts. When you just can do nothing but eat in the meantime, God's defeating the enemy. We go through these valleys. He's been through every single one of them with us. When you're walking, it doesn't seem like you can get up that next mountain, can't climb the next hill. In the meantime, Christ is there saying, hey, just come the next step. He's not asking you to make it all the way up to the top of the hill. He's saying, hey, see that rock there? You might stub your toe on it. Lift your foot up just a little higher. Okay, Lord. Well, how do you know that? You know you can't lead yourself. We can't lead our own path. Why do you think when Christ looks at him, he said, you're like the blind leading the blind, and you both will fall in the ditch. You know why he's saying that? Because you're blind. You don't have a way to lead yourselves. But when you get saved, you get the light of Christ that opens your eyes, and it leads you, and it guides you. When you're going to fall in the ditch, in the meantime, his Spirit speaks to you and says, just take one step further. Just go a little bit further. Just climb a little bit harder. Just reach your hand up and put to the next side of that part of the mountain and just climb and just push and just go. Because in the meantime, he's been working it out on both ends. Don't you like that? There's been so many times I think about, Lord, how am I going to get through this? How am I going to deal with this person? How am I going to deal with that? And then, out of nowhere, I didn't have to do a thing. Christ took care of the whole problem before I ever even got there. I know some of you already heard it tonight, but I'm going to tell it anyways. Right before he came, got a call. Been fighting so strong, trying to get our attorney to get everything lined up to say, well, you give this, you give that. Maybe we can just coerce her to sign our rights over because the kids shouldn't be with that mom. And on the way over, Josh, you won't believe what just happened. What, Lord? God just started to stir that old heart. Well, Mom's left the state, said that she's done with visits. She's going to have our attorney take care of everything else on the back end. But Josh, it sounds like we're done. Try to do it on my own. Try to fight it on my own. And in the meantime, Christ has been taking care of it the whole entire time. Every little thing that we've had to go through, Mike. Every time that we've had to go back home and sit down and pray and say, God, would you just take care of this next mile? Don't let the kids go on visit today. Don't let this happen. Don't let that happen. In the meantime, we'll bless God. And God's been taking care of it all.
Amen.
You don't think Christ knows what you're going through? He went through a lot worse than we've ever gone through. I go home and get upset because I think that the kids that God has ordained to be with me are not going to be with me. Then God looks and says, I gave my only begotten Son to die on a cruel cross so that you could just beat him and mock him and scorn him and pluck his beard and beat a crown of thorns on his head and hang him up so every last drop of blood would be poured on a cruel, cruel cross. And then on the third day he'd rise again. And you think what you're going through is tough. Son, while he was going through that, in the meantime, he saw you on the cross. He saw you as a 9-year-old boy that needed to be saved by the grace of God. In the meantime of his trial and his pain and all the hatred, he still saw you and went further. Don't ever think what you have going on is too big for God. It's too tough for God. He's already got the answer. Sometimes he just wants you to come next. Just remember, when things are going rough, or it seems like you have no hope, in the meantime, Christ has been there the whole time. That's the message. Stand and get a song. Stand if you would. Maybe you need to pray. I thank God for his spirit. I thank him for his strength. Thank him for being there the whole entire time. Never leaving us, never forsaking us. Being with us all the way, even to the end of the world. He's a friend that sticks closer than a brother. I called my own brother. Well, the baby had some problems with his heart. We're going to check that out. All I can say is, I'll pray for you. That's as close as I can get. But Christ is there speaking peace the whole time. In the meantime, there's Christ.
Page 387.
You need to pray.
Just as I am without one plea, but that was shed for me, and that bids me come to thee, O Lamb of God, I come, just as I am, and waiting not to rid my soul of one dark blot, to thee, whose blood can cleanse each sorrow, Lamb of God, I come.
Amen. Anybody have anything on their heart that they need to say or do for the Lord tonight? Someone else? Anything at all? We thank God for his spirit. Thank you for this coming to meet with us in such a mighty way. Good to have Callie, right? Yeah. Good to have Callie with us tonight. Been a special blessing to have her here with us. Come back anytime. No other heart? All right. Well, it's been a good place to be. Stay in the fear of the Lord. You're there to go until Sunday morning.